Evolve 360, conscious evolution. What will it take to evolve consciously, individually, and as a society? Will you lead a holistic life with soul? Welcome to the Evolve 360 Shelley Shell Show with hosts
Cheli Grace
and Shelley Devine. Hey, soul sister,
Hey.
how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. So excited to be in the energy of 2021.
I hear you. This is our first episode actually in 2021.
Yes, it is. And boy, do we have stuff to share with you.
Oh, well, we just actually merged together and we started our business. We're official. It's Capella 4. We're an LLC, so we're super excited about that.
We are excited. And Capella are stars because we felt that we want to help you guys, everyone, the world, achieve superstardom because we're all stars within ourselves.
Absolutely want to shine as bright as we can throughout the entirety of our lives.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. And I am just so happy to be here with you, Shell. I know last year it was a big year of total transformation.
Absolutely.
And chaos. And I don't know about you, but I feel the energy shift and I really see the light coming in a different way.
Yes.
A little softer, more love, more kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's so important to understand that.
I couldn't agree more. I feel like there's a lot of changes and innovations and people are, we're actually like, we were in the rough, like diamonds in the rough. And last year might have been, we were that coal and there was that compression of, being at home, and we still have some residual of it coming now into 2021. But maybe it's about becoming now the diamond and shining and becoming that star. And this year coming into 2021, where we've had some time to reflect and look at our lives. There's been shifts and changes. People are doing other things than they probably, ever expected to do. Or they started, doing those things that have been in the back of their minds that they've always wanted to do, but didn't have the time to do it. And now 2021, we're here, we're like, halfway into the month of January. And we're like, okay, how do we navigate this, but keep that high vibration?
Right.
That's
true.
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
do it consciously. How do we evolve consciously, which is our, this year's, whole theme for our show.
Exactly. And it's a great way to segue into the intention of our show, awesome. which I love, which is to reflect and be aware and then align with what you're reflecting and your awareness, and we're going to talk about alignment because a lot of times I know I myself wake up every morning and I always do, this exercise, Shell, you and I have been doing for a long time because we've been successful. We've juggled careers, kids, life, because life is life. So, you put your top 3 things that you're going to accomplish for the day. And you're there, you're like, gosh, you're so excited. You're organized. You got everything on a roll, just like clockwork, like a Swiss watch, everything's going. You got the carpool at 3:00. You got this, you got your top business, 3 top goals to do. But all of a sudden, something happens that maybe, you're not doing one of those top 3 that you need to do to propel yourself in your company, in your career, in your business. You're not doing one of those top 3 things. And you're wondering, geez, what's going on? Right. I'm organized, but here's the thing. And here's the key and the nugget that Shell and I are here to share with you. Sometimes you need to stop, reflect, and say to yourself, so what is holding me back? You need to be aware and you need to align yourself. So welcome to our conscious evolution show where we're just going to jump right in and we're going to tell you maybe what unconsciously is holding you back from accomplishing one of those top 3 goals. And hey guys, maybe you're writing a book and you can't seem to finish it. Maybe you started your company and you're kicking it. You know, you got a really good angel investor who's giving you money, but all of a sudden your clients start coming in. Or maybe you've got this huge move, this huge promotion, and you're rocking it. And all of a sudden the company's like, you know what? We need to reassess and realign things. And maybe we're not ready to move forward with what we proposed to you before. So what's holding these people back, Shell? Let's jump in and just start talking about, wow.
Okay, so, well, let's also tell people that we have created a 5-day PowerUp experience. And we did that to help people with these issues and these things that come up in your life, and to help you to become aware. So, and to help you to evolve while you're powering yourself up to those unlimited possibilities that you want to create. So you have a full spectrum of your life, and you're creating a full spectrum, a 360-degree life vision. And so Shelley and I put together this 5-day PowerUp experience, which will have some notes in our sheets here. What we're basically doing is coming up with the 3 necessary ingredients to actually achieve that, to help you to see more clearly why it is you're not maybe getting those things done and
meeting your goals. Exactly.
Yeah, why you're not getting those things done. And there are aspects that are conscious or unconscious or subconscious, or, you know, and we're going to help you to kind of gain awareness into doing that. So Shelley and I put together this 5-day PowerUp experience, and you can find it at our website, Evolve 360 Show. And this experience is going to help you do just that. It's going to help you identify what it is that is holding you back from achieving those goals or those intentions that you set, especially for this year moving forward. And it's to help you to create that holistic life vision plan, but how to do it, and to do it consciously as we evolve, because it's always ever changing, is with 3 necessary ingredients, which our 5-day PowerUp experience goes into. And those are, there's 4 power archetypes that Shelley and I have been talking about through season 1, now in season 2, we're going to get into them even more so. And there's also 3 levels of consciousness. There's things that we're conscious about. It's, you know, what is external, what we're motivated externally, and how we survive. We're going to talk about the subconscious, internally, and listening to your gut and your intuition. And then the unconscious, which those 4 power players sometimes are sidelining you into why it is you're not getting those goals, or, you know, you have habits that are sabotaging you or whatever. And then the real big thing is why you're doing, what are the beliefs behind why you're doing what you're doing? And that comes down to how you feel, which is significant, because your emotional intelligence is what is going to carry you through and get what you truly desire and what you want to do and to feel fulfilled. So,
absolutely. And it's the vibe, because let's face it. And the reason why Shelley and I created this life vision, and it's on 12 areas of life, is because, let's face it, things are going great at home. You have a great marriage or a great partnership. You know, everything's going really well. Your love life is really good. Your kids are doing well. Everything's going great. But then at work, things start not going well for you.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's going to transfer into your life, and vice versa. Because think of a hologram, think of a wheel. We are 360 degrees, and we encompass, You know, when we're happy in our careers, when we're happy in our companies, in our businesses, whatever you do, when you're happy creating and you feel you have a purpose, then your personal life and your health and everything is aligned and things are going really well. But when that vibration isn't there for you, when you're feeling depressed or low, or things aren't happening the way you expect it for them to have happened, then it starts affecting all areas of your life. So and you guys are thinking, well, who are we to be the experts? Well, let us tell you what we've done. We have been together for over 20 years, and we have, all right, studied and been involved with so many different modalities and teachings. And basically one of our lead teachers and mentors is Myss, and we went through an over 2-year program with her. But not only that, guys, because I'm a very practical person. I was a career person. Shelley ran a company. She's an entrepreneur. I had a side hustle. I also ran a really big company. But guess what? I had kids. We had husbands, we had lives, we had parents, we had grandparents, we had people that we had to take care of, the elderly when they get sick. And what are you doing? Especially as women. And, you know, a shout out to the guys too, because we don't want to exclude you. But as women, we're always doing all this stuff. And, you know, I know when I was in one of the worst areas of my life, when my mom was sick and dying and she had days, I had to show up at work. In fact, I had to do a TV show to promote a program that we had just kicked off. And I was dying inside. I was grieving and mourning and crying, but I had to slap that smile on my face, go on TV with all this makeup and just be pepply and bubbly. And I just wanted to crawl under the sheets and cry. And this is what it's about, that we need to honor ourselves and we need to take a moment and
yourself. It's really to stay true to yourself and become your authentic self. And I think oftentimes people, and I know this is for me, it becomes challenging for people to stay in line or in alignment with their true selves because they're busy, worried, or in fear, or something else is more external forces. It has to do with survival, and they're out there gauging their choices and basing their choices, actions, and deeds on survival instincts,
on their outside world. What are people going to think?
And so what we want to do is help people. This is our, this is why we're here, is to help you to get back to that and remember who it is you truly are and to create the life that you want. And how we discover that is through, studying, as Shelley said, with our esteemed teacher, because she did have answers for us about archetypal patterns and sacred contracts. But what we're going to focus on today is the 4 power players, why, or the 4 power archetypes, as to why they can either sideline you or to create the messy life that you might be creating now, where you feel unhappy or unsatisfied, or you're just not, going in the direction that really feels right to you, or feel it just, something doesn't feel right, or to have an understanding of what emotions are coming in and sidelining you, creating these habits that maybe aren't serving you in the long run, and creating, sometimes some chaos in your life with the relationships you have with people, your significant others, your children, the people that your colleagues that you work with, or you're just not getting to the positions that you want, and why that is. And that's what Shelley and I have the experience and the expertise in guiding you as a listener, if you're interested in this 5-day PowerUP experience that we've been, kind of putting out there to help you to see these aspects in your life and how they might be misguiding you. And so you feel like you're off course, but to know about them and to know about them consciously, to put you back on course with your true authentic self.
And here's something I want to share with the viewers and the listeners, because, we both have been down this road a lot. Like, okay, so you study mindset, you have a mindset coach, which is great. and you do your affirmations and you do everything that you're expected to do, and you're really on a roll, but all of a sudden, bang, something happens and you're like, you don't understand why.
Out of left field, and you're like, where did that come from?
Exactly. So Shelley and I have created a program that will address this. It goes deeper than, because affirmations are great, and Lord knows I've done them all, and they've helped me stay on track and really attract. Vision boards are great. I've done those too. They've helped me. But here's the thing. When you go out there in the world and something trumps you up, something, you know, just totally takes you out of left field.
You have to know what it is that is actually happening there, and you need to see it clearly, right, Shell?
Exactly. And you need to reflect. And the other thing is, a lot of times we're not ready to let go of that mask that we've been having. I know I went through that experience when my mom was dying, and it was very hard for me because I had a persona of showing up and being perfect. But sometimes perfection doesn't exist, and it starts with us, because on the inside, you have to say, okay, what's my inside telling me that my outside isn't conveying to me or to the world? And just have trust with yourself and go slow and easy and kind of integrate everything. I teach at the university, I was teaching a course on leading from the inside out. Because as a leader, how do we really show up? And this is something that I share when I was so vulnerable, but I couldn't share my vulnerability because I was in fear of losing that control or losing that aspect of what I thought in my mind I had to be. And once, you know, I shed this and I showed up and just, you know, kind of said, okay, this is who I am, everything came into place. So, you know, this is just some things that I wanted to share with you guys, because the world is moving faster. We're still in transformation. And I think this is the year of truth and alignment. And we need to be truthful to ourselves first and say, hey, are we doing too much? Are we not showing up in the way that we want to show up because we're doing it maybe because others expect us to? You know, what is it that you guys want? What do you want for your life? And how are you going to create it? That's why we're here. Right, Shell?
Yeah, we are. We totally are. Yeah. I mean, so what did you think, you know, like during those times? I mean, I can definitely identify with the 4 power players or the 4 power archetypes during those times, and how they might have thrown me off course, or they might have had the reins instead of me myself having the reins, you know, causing, you know, some, you know, issues with, say, my marriage at the time, or you know, even in my career, because of fears that I might have had that stemmed from, you know, when I was a child, all the way up, threads all the way up through the entirety of my life, or where I might have been blaming other people for things that were my own responsibility. And then I might have even, you know, during those times kind of sold myself out, didn't do certain things, or, you know, lived in air, you know, so I could see my kids, you know, but it might not have been, it was out of necessity. It was out of survival.
Right. Right.
So,
No, absolutely.
so
And
we should, you know, as we're moving forward with our show today, is really get into the 3, you know, necessary ingredients to creating this life, you know, a greater quality of life coming into 2021, especially, and doing it consciously, especially with what we have just come from. You know, we just have come from, you know, a tremendous turbulent year in 2020, where we were being required to, you know, sit, reflect, be alone a lot, probably. And now it's like, okay, what are we going to do moving forward? And part of it is learning about the 4 power archetypes that Shelley and I teach in our 5-day PowerUP experience. You know, it's a work related kind of, you know, situation that we introduce the 4 power archetypes and how they play out in your life and throughout the entirety of your life. And they are subtle. And like I said, earlier, we've talked about them at length, but I know Shelley and I myself can attest from, knowing so much about archetypes in general, that these 4 are so significant into creating, issues in our life, because they're trying to bring to our awareness consciously, not creating a life that is based on external influences, based on survival, but instead going to source and aligning more internally, by going in and and listening to what is truly you, and then bringing it and shining, becoming that star and really shining that light that is within you outward. And people, I think, typically, even today, have lost sight of that. And that's why we put together this course that we were gonna, go over a little bit in today's show.
No, absolutely. Because a lot of times, and like I say, I speak from my experience, you put things back, you put them on hold because life gets in the way and you have to do them. And 10 years go by and you're like, wow, I haven't done that.
Yeah.
Or, you're in a career, or you opened a business because maybe it's been in your family and it was expected, but all of a sudden, you weren't really crazy about it, but you kind of embraced it and you're plunging on. And, one day you wake up and you're like, why am I really doing this?
Right.
It's not serving me. I'm not happy. I'm miserable. So it's just about sharing the insights that we have so that you guys can reflect and you guys can start asking your own questions. We're here to help you on your own journey and your own path. We don't have a way of saying, hey, this is what you should do. On the contrary, we are embracing everybody and whatever you do. We are very open, but all we want to do is share reflective information and reflective questions so that you are your own guide and you figure this out for yourself. And once you understand the keys that we have, kind of to unlock the power of unlimited possibilities, you'll understand. And let me tell you something, sometimes life is very messy. And we have a great blog where we have been writing a little bit about life. And I know I'm like the eternal optimist. And Shell, I think you are too. We're like, I love my friends. Exactly. And the other day I wrote a blog because, I love this one woman amazingly a lot. And we had a lot of things in common 10 years ago. And she's still in the fold of my heart, but we're not connected. And sometimes I want to share that because we have to let things go to move forward. And sometimes friendships might go, sometimes careers or businesses will go. And you have to sit and reflect and kind of see why. And this is some of the things that we share with you. So we give you the tools and we give you the reflective techniques so that you can start figuring out what it is about you to create your life vision plan.
Right. So, do you want to get into the 4 power players?
Yeah, let's do that. I love that.
Let's get into them. So the four power archetypes are your core allies, or your 4 principal energy companions. I like to call them my compadres because they're with me all the time. They are universal patterns of energy that guides you and helps you to reach your highest potential. Each of these archetypes has special attributes and characteristics that organically evolve as you do. They are real psychic forces that create, or that are power, and they're at play consistently and constantly in your life. And the 4 of them, which we've discussed at length in other shows, are the child, victim, prostitute, and saboteur. And we grow through these. We grow from when we're very little all the way up to, the day we die. And they're always at play.
Absolutely. And let me just jump in because you're going to say the prostitute. It's just an energy. It's an energy. It doesn't mean that you are. It's just an energy that sometimes we sell ourselves, or, you know, what is it worth? I remember our teacher, Carolyn Myss, always used to say, everybody has a price. What's yours? Remember? So it's just that. It's
They're
not,
just
you know, they're
names.
neutral in
Yeah, they're neutral
definition.
names. That's all.
Right.
They're neutral, and they're symbolic names. I think we get images, right, Shell? We get
Yes.
images in our mind when we think of them. Even like to say the victim, that sounds like ugh. But on the opposite scale, the victim can become the victor, or the child. You know, when you're behaving as an adult like a child, which I think a lot of us out there know when we're behaving like a child sometimes. But the opposite of that is behaving like a responsible adult, and the prostitute is behaving as more of a prosperer when they're in their right light. Instead of selling themselves out, they're prospering. They're going from maybe survival, prostitute, surviving, selling yourself out, to a prosperer where you're thriving. So, and then there's always the one that I've really struggled with, is the saboteur,
Yeah.
right? Oh, that sounds like, ooh, behind the scenes, but that one is about how we're creating in our life. So they're neutral energies, but they have their shadowy aspects as well as their light.
Right. And this goes back to Carl Jung, and he was the one who came up with this. And then, you know, Joseph Campbell and Carolyn Myss took it to a whole new level. And we were so honored and blessed to be in her last 2-year sacred contracts class.
Isn't it funny when you think about it? Like, Shell, when we were there, I mean, I'm reminiscing, you guys. It's like when we were there, we were literally like on the edges of our seats, and we always, like, we would go in before the class even started, put our books down at center stage, front row, and we're like riveting, like, okay, on our seats, like leaning forward as Carolyn's teaching. And we were there like every single class like that.
Yes, it was amazing. I just love those times with you. They were amazing, and they were amazing. And we kept studying with her afterwards. But you guys might say, okay, why did you only pick these 4, since there's so many and there's been books written on it? I know there's branding on the archetypal patterns, the hero's journey. Well, because after doing all of this with Shell and living our own, you know, sexy, crazy, raw, chaotic lives, we decided that these 4 are the foundation and the architects of the whole kind of base of our survival.
They align right onto your body. They can be the determining factor of your health, right? I mean,
exactly.
Depending on choices you make, and most people, I think, are maybe unaware of how much they affect you until, something occurs and you're like, wow, what is my behavior? How am I emotionally responding to this situation? And then you will see like some sort of storyline that might relate to a child, or someone who's been victimized, or a victimizer, or how you're selling out your ideas, or your ethics and your values for something that you might need out of necessity. It's not that
maybe fear, and it's about owning your power. Let's face it.
There's so many influences that influence these archetypal patterns within us, but they're just here to help us grow, and to show us where those fears lie, and to help us gain insight into ourselves, to alleviate those fears, and to empower ourselves so we do shine, and we're able to raise our vibration, and once we do that, and we become, say, maybe somewhat fearless, or more loving, or appreciative, or courageous, then our quality of life changes once we know these things, and those habits that might be limiting us, we somehow gain the reins, and we're able to redirect, and it does change our life.
Yes, it does, because we reflect we become aware, and we align. And that jumps into the storyline that we have for the 5-day PowerUp experience. We created it from all the different coaching situations that we've had in our own, lives with our clients, and also from life itself. And we kind of created these power players, and you'll learn more about Millie and Ben, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's like kind of
our characters are Millie, Ben, Bob, and Patty.
Whoa. And Patty.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's like kind of having a hidden camera, and being in a room where these people's interactions are taking place.
And they're common interactions.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
In a lot of different, they're I would say universal, wouldn't you?
Totally universal. But because and I'm not going to give out the punchline or anything, because I want you guys to join to experience it yourself. But because one of these characters starts making decisions out of her own fear, these power archetypes come in and
limiting beliefs about herself, and she's in part of it too is she's dealing with these archetypal patterns, the 4 power archetypes, and she's dealing with them, but she's really unaware, and this is how we, even as individuals, I know for myself years ago, prior to knowing about these, I was unaware of them. And then once I became aware, I could identify within myself how how I was gullible as a child, like as an adult, but that gullibility of that complete being innocent as a child, and being codependent and irresponsible in some degrees. I mean, I was a responsible adult, but I was also somewhat irresponsible in other areas. And it helped me to see that more clearly. I was like, oh, wow, I need to grow this child up and become more responsibility and take on more responsibility, say in the workplace or something like that. And it's not like these huge, sometimes it's just a subtle shift in awareness.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's an awareness.
And it's an awareness of how
it's an awareness.
Archetypal, these 4 power archetypes are playing out. Like, am I blaming like somebody for something? Like I can remember years ago is blaming, someone for something that, wasn't getting done. And then realizing it's like, you know what, I can't blame them. I have to appreciate what they're showing me, and then step up and say, you know what, I'm going to take responsibility here, and I am going to own my own stuff. Instead of projecting and blaming on somebody, creating a low frequency vibration that's going to bring me, downward, and just create other power plays with people I worked with or not. Or even in my home life, creating power plays with my spouse, which that's really where I learned a lot about the 4 power archetypes.
Well, let's get back to the 5-day PowerUp experience, Shell, because what you just said is so on point. And what I want people to understand is that once you are aware and you reflect, it's how you show up and communicate.
Yes.
Because I love to talk, right? And I've written books on communication. My husband's like, you're always talking. But here's the thing. Once you reflect and you become aware, it's like one of our characters. What door do you want to walk through as you kind of empower yourself? Are you going to be a victim and then become, go down that rabbit hole and then create all of those experiences with your colleagues?
Yeah.
Are you going to empower yourself and be a victor? And like Shell said, suck it up and realize that
I played the victim in my marriage. I played the victim. I was blaming, my ex-partner, my spouse, blaming him for certain things. And it was very subtle. It was stupid little blamey, naggy things, but they built up over time. And I didn't realize how this victim mentality was holding the reins of my life. Life, and my life changed because of it drastically. And instead of becoming the victim, I had to come out of it and become the victor. And this is how these archetypes will play out in your life, in the home or in the workplace, right?
And let me tell you, they're subtle.
Yes, they're subtle. I mean, I didn't even know how back then, how to hold the reins of them, to navigate them. It took years to learn.
But we don't want you to think you're going to take yours to learn. We're going to teach you in 5 days, really quick. And then we have other really cool things that we have. We're opening up our membership site on a monthly, because we're going to have a lot of cool
Become
things.
Even more aware of how they're playing out and how
it's like a gym, guys. Once you do like I used to do Beachbody or the 21 day, the 21 day. And then after your 21 days, you're all in great in style. I live in Miami, so 21 days to the beach, right? Wear that fabulous bathing suit. But after those 21 days, are you going to go back to eating like Haagen-Dazs or Ben and Jerry's at night? No, you got to kind of stay on track. So that's why we created this membership, the PowerUP Membership Society. It's the PowerUP movement. Because we want to create a movement, and it's to get you aware, reflective, and knowing, because these things are subtle, guys.
Right. And to show you how to create a really, their best quality of life, to start to be, creators of conscious creators.
Right.
Of their life and what they envision for themselves, and actually to achieve it and to attain it, to actually have it start to manifest in their life. And they're on that upward spiral of emotions that really that feel good vibe.
Yes. And we've created a program, like we said, we've created a community. We'd love for you guys to be part of our tribe so we can support you guys and support each other as we continue to evolve. Like, think about where you guys were last year in 2020 or even the year before. Think about where you want to be, not only this year, but moving forward. And that's why we want to support you. We want to create a tribe and a movement because we really feel the world is changing, and we want to really impact people with tools, techniques to shine your lights in this world. And, kind of like, I don't know, a club, a little, it's like a club, because you're like,
we're going to have links too in the notes today. So if you're interested, it'll be easy for you to.
Absolutely. But we just want to have fun and live life to the fullest and have unlimited potentials and not wake up with worry or fear. Because, guys, if you really take care of all of the things that we're going to share with you in our programs and in our 5-day and in our, the podcast, if you go back and listen, you'll start becoming more aware of, maybe things that you might say that might take you down that road that you really don't want to go down anymore, because it's going to create arguments or miscommunications or rifts with friends or business partners. And I'm all about communication, but sometimes, we need to just take a step back and reflect and see life from a different angle before we react.
Shelley, you've been saying a lot about reflection. And this has to do with having some emotional intelligence, which is in our 5-day PowerUP experience. We touch on that. And it comes down to these 3 levels of consciousness, is really being either very conscious, which is an external physical power. And then being in the subconscious, which is level 2, is that internal, what we take inside, which deals with our emotions and our emotional intelligence. And then there's the unconscious level, which is a collective symbolic, which we talked about just a few minutes ago, about the 4 power players, which are very unconscious, but that's grace. And that's grace coming through you, where you really get to know yourself. But getting back to what Shelley was talking about, is having reflection. Is there are 7 emotional actions, and they can take you from either surviving or thriving. And if you think about this, when you react to somebody that you're, maybe a colleague or a relationship that you're in, your children or whatever, and there's a spectrum, and that spectrum is, you can either react with a fight or flight, like or retract, fight or flight, like, oh no, run away, retreat. Or you can react with anger, like a very low frequency and just unconscious kind of reaction. Or you can respond. Respond is the spiral upward, where you're owning your stuff and you're responsible as you respond in an appropriate behavior. You're responding in a, well, I would do this, or you take ownership, or you can relate. And this is the next level up of these emotional actions, is you relate to the person that you're interacting with. You identify with them, you have some compassion, or you get to what Shelley's been talking about, is reflecting. And this is where you really start to have a greater sense of awareness of what is actually at play and what is happening. And then you go even higher with reframing the situation, because now you're starting to create a different outcome. And then you can go into refining it. And these are things that Shelley and I are teaching in our 5-day PowerUP experience, but also want to help you to become aware of when we go into our big, our membership society and some of the other courses that we're going to be coming up with, right, Shelley?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want to give you all the tools, the techniques and strategies so that you can create a holistic 360 approach to your life, a great life vision plan. And we're just so excited because we just really, we live it every day.
Yeah.
And we want to share it with the world.
And too, we want to create in all the areas of our life, the 12 areas of our life that are common with everybody, that are, most people have, they want to have a successful career. They want to be, happy financially. They want to have a body that works, a mind that feels good. They want their spirit to feel good, like they want to be social and have friends. So we tackle all these areas, but the foundation of it comes into play with what we're discussing in our 5-day PowerUP experience, which leads into all of this other, creating that great quality of life that you're looking for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so exciting. And we're so honored to be here to share our knowledge and our life experiences with you guys.
Yeah.
And, and have you become superstars of your life.
Absolutely. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to help you shine.
Absolutely.
And be the best person you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, anything else we want to add to the show, or?
No, just sign up for the 5-day PowerUP experience, because I don't know if we're going to run it again. We might just put it in as a course. It's our gift to you, saying, welcome to 2021. May you create a life full of love, joy, and unlimited possibilities.
Hey, powering up, saying yes,
Power up.
Yes, yes, to the universe,
yes.
right?
I own it. I own it. I own my life. Yes.
Yeah. So this was great. And we have some great shows coming up, especially as we go into February this month with, love and relationships, because we have our next guest that's going to be coming on the show is the love and relationship artist. And she will be discussing, which for me would be great, love in lockdown. And it's real love's not faded, but created.
I can't wait to hear what she's
got. I know, I can't wait either.
Right. Love in lockdown. I love it.
Right? Yeah. I know. I bet you a lot of people out there right now is thinking, oh God, because last year dating didn't happen. And then too, if you're married and you do have a significant other, it's like some people are like, oh my God, get me away from them.
No, exactly. I mean,
or they're just blissed out and they're like psyched that they can spend all this time together.
Well, I'm happily married and I adore my husband, but let me tell you, it's just about boundaries and space. And you're right, because this was a huge transition. So love on lockdown. I just can't wait to hear what she's got to say.
Me either. So if this is the first time listening to our show and you want to learn more about us, go back and listen to season 1, A Holistic Approach to Life. There are 21 episodes jam-packed with amazing information that you will not want to miss. In this one, season 2, we're talking conscious evolution. We want to bring you into 2021 and into the future. We want a trajectory where you're launching rockets to create that optimum and that best quality of life possible. So if you enjoyed the episode, go ahead, please leave a review because it helps people find the show. And on the review, mention how us little two chickies might have helped you, or, you know, might have inspired or motivated you. You can also remember, please, to subscribe or download on iTunes. You can watch us on YouTube, and you can find everything you need to on our website at evolve360show.com. This is
Cheli Grace
and Shelley Devine with Conscious Evolution, creating a holistic life vision with soul. See you on the next Evolve
360 show.
Show. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye. This episode was brought to you by our 5-day PowerUP Experience, where we want to share with you an amazing power play that happens many times, even more so now during these changing times where everyone wants to keep a seat at the table.
Yes, they do. Are you juggling more, doing more, have less connection with people? Your happy hours are a distant past and just a long lost dream. You scream just before the next Zoom call and plaster a smile on your face when you press the join button. There's no time to disconnect. You're always on, and you barely have time to do your own work. Much less, you have no time for you.
You're exhausted and drained. You are stressed and have this low grade anger because of your current quality of life. You feel you have no control. You are working more, doing more, and seeing no end in sight.
Well, we want to power up and discover the allies that you have at hand that are going to assist you from surviving to thriving.
You can learn more about the 5-day PowerUp Experience by going to our evolve360show.com website, or you can join the PowerUp Membership Society. A link will be included in our show notes. This is the first time of many more fun and practical life-altering programs, which will give you practical, hands-on, do-it-now strategies to help you create a holistic life vision with soul.